Now,
Isn't Eden awesome? She is great. She's been a great asset here. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm the oldest member of the staff here. I am just about to retirement age, hopefully. I've been in business 32 years. I went to college to be a school teacher because my whole family taught school. My mom taught school, my brothers taught school. And that's what we as Averets did. We taught school. But I got married and I was in my junior year and I went to Wasatch School District to apply for a teaching job to see how much they paid. And I went into the appointment and came out. My wife said, "Oh my gosh, you look like you saw a ghost. What happened?" And I said, "They told me how much I was going to make. First year I was going to teach school, $28,000. She goes, "We can't live off $28,000. And so I changed my degree from education to business. And so I went into business, University of Utah. Started in my business career at Park and Jet. Anybody park at Park and Jet, off airport parking? I helped the Morris brothers set up Park and Jet. They were just developing that concept and helped them sell that up, set that up, did that for a few years. And then they sold the business and I had a piece of the action and I retired for a few years. My wife had our second child, so I played stay-at-home dad for a couple of years. And then Diamond Parking read an ad in the newspaper about an off-airport parking manager. And I answered that ad, went to Seattle, Washington, where they were based out of, and they hired me to start their off-airport parking facility. Anybody parked at Diamond Airport Parking out by the airport? That's my brainchild.
Really?
Sketched that out on a napkin at the Market Street Grill. So I worked for the Diamonds for about 10 years. And it was a fantastic experience because what they did is they used parking, getting parking leases on vacant land in downtown Salt Lake, securing those for parking lots. And then when a higher and better use came along, like a hotel or an office building, then they would sell the building to the developer or they would partner with the developer. So the parking was a way to make the real money, and that was in real estate. So I saw that happening and I made pretty good money. This was back in 84, 85, and I was making pretty good money, but I would sit in these closings with these commercial real estate brokers and they were getting checks for $50,000, $100,000 in these real estate transactions that Diamond Parking was buying. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's a year's salary for me and they're making that in one transaction. So I went and got my real estate license, started my own brokerage and sold my brokerage to another outfit and eventually found my way here. And I'm glad to be here, but that's just kind of a little history about me. I didn't take the most direct path into real estate, but it's been a great career for me. And you guys are very smart people, because you've chosen to go into a career where you could potentially be millionaires. And it's not far-fetched. I mean, stop and think about it. Did any of your parents go into careers where they're millionaires? Good, that's an exception. But you know, you have the potential to earn amazing money. And so we're going to teach you how to do that. So one of the things we want to start with tonight is we're going to talk about what we call our 6 core concepts. And I don't know how to use an Apple, so I may screw things up here.
Right.
So here are your 6 competencies that you want to master as being in the real estate business. Okay. If you learn nothing else tonight, other than what Eden taught you, remember this. This is the 6 ways that you make money. Okay, we said again, this is the 6 ways that you make money in real estate. And they're called competencies because you need to get to the point where you're competent in your skill set in each of these 6 categories. Okay, so how many of you thought you were going into the real estate business? So what they told you at real estate school, you were getting your real estate license? They tell you anything different than that? They lied to you. You're not going into the real estate business. You're going into the lead generation business. Okay, that is your number 1 focus. That is your number 1 priority, because if you don't have leads, just like Eden mentioned, most businesses that are in sales have to have leads. Car dealerships, other businesses that are in sales, they have to generate leads. They can do it through newspaper advertising. They can do it through the internet. They can do it through phone calls, just like we can. But if you're in sales, you or the company that you're with need to be generating leads, because those leads convert into clients, and clients convert into
Money.
money,
Money.
Okay.
Money.
commission. So your number 1 competency is lead generation, lead capture, and conversion to appointments. Okay, lead generation. So you need to figure out how to talk to people. I'm going to translate this for you. Lead generation is talking to people. We are in the business of talking to people. We talk to everyone we come in contact with about the fact we're in real estate. My hairdresser knows I'm in real estate. My mechanic knows I'm in real estate. Everybody that I do business with knows I'm in real estate, and they know that I expect them to send me their business because I give them my business. Okay, so we're in the business of talking to people. We want to capture those people and put them into our database. We want to create a database. Command has an amazing feature called contacts. And in Command, you can organize, categorize, and also send out advertising to your clients, to your leads in your database. Okay. And the goal of capturing those leads is to convert those to appointments. If you never go on an appointment, you're never going to have them as a client. The process of converting them over to a client, whether it's a buyer or seller, is setting an appointment. Because you have to sit down with them and you have to go through the process of educating them what it takes to be a buyer, or what it takes to be a seller, and the process. Does that make sense? Anybody have questions on that so far? Okay. All right, the next thing that we need to do is we need to present to buyers and sellers and get an agreement. So let's say, for example, we're making phone calls. We're calling expireds. Okay, so every day on the MLS, there's listings that expire. So the listing period is over. So we can see who those people are that have an expired listing. So one of the ways to go after business is to go after expired listings. So you can go knock on their door, or you call them and say, hey, I noticed your listing expired. I want to talk to you about listing your house. Okay, and picking that business up, taking that business from someone else who was unsuccessful and being successful with that. So let's say, for example, that we go knock on the door and they say, yeah, I'd be happy to talk to you. I can give you an earful about what the listing agent did wrong that I hired the first time. So you listen to what they have to say, but then you tell them how you're different and how Keller Williams is different and how you're going to have success where the other agent didn't have success. And you go, well, Ken, gosh, I don't know anything about that. You know, how am I going to tell them that? Well, you're going to tell them that because you're going to talk to me, you're going to talk to Eden, you're going to talk to Allison, you're going to talk to Russie or Sean, and we're going to coach you on that. Okay, that's what we're here for, is to help you in that process. You know, we can even go with you to the appointment and help you. And you can see how somebody who's a seasoned agent does it. That's an option too. Okay. So we're gonna get those people to the point where we're gonna get an agreement with them. The state of Utah requires that we have a written agreement with those people in order to represent them. A buyer, we have to have a buyer broker agreement that authorizes us to represent them for a period of time in a geographical area, and that's a state document. Our documents are written by the Attorney General's office. That's who writes our legal documents, our purchase contract, our exclusive right to sell, our buyer broker agreement. It's also approved by the UAR, the Utah Association of Realtors. They have a legal team that reviews those documents, but those are state forms and they're generated by the Attorney General's office.
Which is basically the explanation to the buyer or seller as to how the process is going
Yes.
to go.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a bigger word, and the word is called agency. So what you're doing is when you put somebody under a contract as a buyer or a seller, you're creating an agency relationship with them. And unfortunately, most people don't understand how agency works. So you have to go through these documents and explain to them, hey, when you sign this document, I joke with them and say, hey, you sign this document, we're married. We're married for the next 6 months, or we're married for the next 90 days. It says at the very top of all of our documents, this is a legally binding document. Please review it before you sign it. Because it's binding. So it's very important that they understand what they're getting into. Okay, whether it's a buyer or a seller. So our next goal is to get them to sign an agreement. So now we have agency. Agency allows us to represent them legally and to write contracts and addendums on their behalf. Okay. Then we start the fun process of going out and showing buyers homes or creating a marketing plan for a seller and sell and list a seller's house and get that process going to where their house is being shown by us or by other agents. Okay. So that's where we really hit the road running right here, because now we're actively showing houses. We have a listing, that listing's being shown. So that's where the activity starts happening. The fourth way that you get paid is you get paid by writing and negotiating contracts. If you don't write a contract, or if you don't receive a contract on your listing, you don't get paid. So that's the fourth activity, is writing and negotiating contracts. How many of you can write a contract today? If you picked up a buyer tomorrow and took them out and showed them a house, how many of you could write a contract today? Okay. Don't feel bad. If you didn't raise your hand, don't feel bad. It blows me away that in the state of Utah, the real estate license is the only license that the state of Utah issues where you cannot do your job day one. If you got a cosmetology license, can people who graduate and get a cosmetology license do people's hair day one? Yeah, why? What's the difference?
Because they know how to do it. They were taught how to do it.
Yeah, they had to spend hundreds of hours working with somebody who owned a salon and going over the techniques. They had on the job actual physical training for hundreds of hours before they were issued their license. That doesn't happen in real estate. Okay. The state says, brokers, we expect you to do that. You're going to train the agents how to write a contract and how to write an addendum. So don't feel bad that you don't know how to do that. You'll learn. We have classes for that. We meet with you one-on-one and help you. Every Friday at 9:30, I have a compliance class. It's called Compliance with Ken. We have it right here. We do it both live and virtually. And I go over the documents. That's often what we go over, because that's what I do. I'm the compliance broker. So I review every contract that comes through the office. I get involved in disputes and problems with other agents or with clients. And so that's my wheelhouse, is the paperwork and the contract.
You review the contract before they sign.
I do not. I review it once you go under contract.
So it's my responsibility to review the contract before you review it.
Mhm.
With help, I mean, you
Yeah.
can get help.
You can get help. You can ask me if you're uncertain what to do, but I don't review every contract before it goes out. You have a license, you have a real estate license. You are trained what to do. If you don't know what to do, ask for help. And we'll give you the training that you need, but I review them after the fact, and I have other people that review them as well. We have a two-tiered compliance system where it gets reviewed initially by a compliance clerk. And they look for, make sure all the Ts are crossed and the Is are dotted, and they look for form and function. And then the second level is where it gets more legal. Okay, and that's when I get involved. But we will give you feedback on your paperwork. Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions on that? Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Okay, so my door is always open. I'm either in the office or on my cell phone from 8 to 8, 6 days a week. So there's not many people are more accessible than I am. If you're not getting help, that's your problem. My cell phone number is 801-671-5718. And if you come here in the office, they've pigeonholed me over here in the corner. They don't like to see me or hear from me. I'm over there in the corner.
Bad.
Yeah, but you're.
Yeah.
the-
Thanks. Most days I don't wear the
You do
dunce,
hear
I don't wear the dunce hat, but I'm over there in the corner.
How do you spell your last name?
Averett. All right. Let's see, we backed up somehow. Okay, write contracts and negotiate. Okay, and then after you've written contracts and you've negotiated and you're now under contract, there are things that you need to coordinate with a buyer or a seller in order to have a successful transaction. So those of you that are experienced, what are some of the things that you need to coordinate with your buyers? Chris, what do you need to coordinate with a buyer? If you're representing a buyer and you've gone under contract, what are the things that you need to have happen in order to have a successful transaction?
Oh, the basics.
Mhm.
Oh, we need to make sure they're pre-approved.
Okay.
Make sure. One, that what they want, will put the contract on what they want, and they're just not settling. You've got to make sure. That you got home inspections done, your appraisals are going in, the financing's coming through. There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Babysitting.
There's a checklist of things that you need to coordinate with either a buyer or seller to make sure you're gonna have a successful transaction. You need to make sure the paperwork is done, it's done correctly to start with, it's turned into the office. You need to make sure that if you're representing a buyer, the earnest money is turned in. You have 4 days, 4 calendar days, not business days, 4 calendar days to turn the earnest money in. So if you go under contract on a Thursday and you think you're gonna wait till Monday, or on a Wednesday, and you think you're gonna wait till Monday to get the earnest money, your earnest money is gonna be late. Has to be turned into the office within 4 calendar days. So just keep that in mind, okay? And then the brokerage has 4 days in order to deposit it into our trust account. But you have to get it to us within 4 days. So there's deadlines in the contract that need to be adhered to. You need to, like Chris said, you need to arrange for an inspection. Okay, there's 3 things I think every home should have if you're representing a buyer. This is my own personal opinion. I think every home should have a home inspection by a professional home inspector. I think it should also have a meth test for methamphetamines. Methamphetamines is almost at an epidemic level here in the state of Utah. Methamphetamine use. Mhm. Guess what county is the worst, has the highest percentage of
Utah.
use?
Price, where's Price? Carbon County.
Really not. That's what I'm saying.
No, it's Cache County. Yeah, Cache County. And I won't go into it, but the meth use has a lot to do with the divorce rate.
Oh.
Okay. So anyway, meth test, and then if the home has a basement, a radon test. Okay, radon is a non-visible, non-smelling gas that comes organically out of the ground. And if it's breathed in heavy concentrations, it can cause lung cancer. I've had 2 people in my family die in their 30s of lung cancer. They were not smokers. No one in their family smoked. And the only thing we can tie it to is that they grew up in a home that had radon and they slept in the basement. Because radon is heavy, it's heavier than air, so it settles in your basements. Okay, and that's why people lay down in bed. Bed's only 3 feet off the ground, and they're breathing pure radon.
You guys can get a free radon test and test your house yourself. They let you do one per address and then you just mail it in and then they'll mail you the results back from Utah Radon Services.
Yep.
You just call them. I can add that
Most
to the
most
email.
home inspectors will do radon testing as well, but they do an electronic sniffer. So they put a sniffer in the house that samples the air for 3 days and then gives them a reading. So there's different ways you can do it. About $150 to test for radon. It's also about $150 to test for meth. And I think those are cheap insurance plans to make sure that your home is healthy, right? And we want a healthy home for our clients. So there's a few things. Okay, on the listing side, I don't want to get deep into it because we'll go down a rabbit hole. But if you're representing a seller and you go under contract, what's your job as a listing agent?
Find a buyer.
Okay, once you found a buyer and you're under contract with the buyer and you're the listing agent, what are some activities that happen in the sale of a home? You're not doing them, but a lot of the same things apply. So the buyer's agent is probably going to arrange for a home inspection and you'll need to coordinate that with the seller to make the house available. Your job is to make the house available for the buyer and the buyer's agent so they can do their home inspection. They can do their walkthroughs, they can do all of their testing, they can do the appraisal. That's your job. And then to negotiate any things that come up, if there's any repair issues, let's say the house does have meth or does have radon, those can be corrected. There's ways to correct that. And so you get involved in those kinds of negotiations, okay? And making sure that you can keep the deal together, okay? Everything is fixable. Okay, we don't do brain surgery. I tell people, look, we don't do brain surgery. So in other words, our patient or our client is not going to die on the operating table, but there's a lot of detail that goes into what we do. You have to be very detail oriented or you're going to miss something and that could cause a problem. It's fixable, but in our world, if there's a problem, how does the problem get fixed? Money, okay? Somebody's got to cough up some money, fix the problem. So let's not have that happen to our client. Okay, and then the last competency that you need to master, or competency you need to master is the competency of managing your money. Okay, very, very important. Like Eden said, it blows me away to sit down every year with agents because we will sit down with you in December, or we'll sit down with you now because you don't have a business plan yet. And we believe that everybody should have a business plan. And in the business plan, we talk about what are the activities that you're going to do daily, weekly, and monthly, and to what degree in order to have the level of success that you want to have. Then the second part of that is with that success, with the money that you're going to make, how are you going to spend it? How are you going to invest it? Okay. And this is the first brokerage that I've been with in 30 years that has actually done a good job of talking to agents about their money. Okay. They're really good about telling you how to make money, but they're not really good about telling you how to keep your money. Okay. So we'll talk about that as well. So that's your last competency is to have a strategy, have a business plan, have a budget. Just like any other business, you need to have a budget. You need to have operating capital, you have income, you take that income in, you pay your taxes. The best way to do that is to pay quarterly taxes, so you avoid any penalties to the IRS. So every quarter, pay your taxes so you avoid penalties, or invest it. And then pay it at the end of the year, whatever works for you. But I would say the biggest problem that agents have is that they don't set money aside for their taxes. And then April comes up and all of a sudden it's a big problem. Okay. So if you need a good accountant, let me know. I have one that does a great job. And I'd be happy to recommend him to you. Okay. All right, the next item I want to talk about is the difference between being a functionary and being a fiduciary. To achieve your highest potential, these 6 core competencies must be done consistently. And by consistently, we're talking about daily. And they must be done well. You must have a skill set. Okay. Any ahas so far? Have I absolutely made you depressed and not want to go into the business? Are you feeling good about things?
Well, actually, I like the honesty, because I have been involved in a few purchasing of homes, and you can see that the agent, according to what I learned in the school and the way I am, they
Yeah.
didn't do their job.
Yeah,
So that's one of the approaches that I have. Tell people everything up front. How is it gonna be? What did they expect with that amount of budget they have? What kind of loan they're gonna put through and everything. Everything up front, because obviously they wanna get a sale and the commission.
yeah,
But they don't tell you a lot of things, and I hate that.
yeah.
I hate that.
It's a problem in our industry, any sales industry, That's why our reputation is a little tarnished with the public, is that we have a reputation that's about the same as a used car salesman. And some brokerages are better than others. Some agents are better than others. Once you're in the business a few years, you're going to know who those people are because you have dealt with them, and you're not going to want to deal with them again. So your reputation in the business is going to precede you. I know almost everybody in the industry, and somebody will call me and I'm like, oh, no, not again. This is going to be a horrible experience. But other agents will call you and you're like, yeah, awesome. I hope your buyer buys my listing. I'll encourage it, because I know that if that agent brings me a buyer, it's going to result in a commission. And I know that they're going to be honest, they're going to have integrity, they're going to do what they need to do, and they're going to do it in a timely fashion. And that's all we need to do. Those 4 things. Okay. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about, maybe if I can get there, am I going the right direction? I don't know.
Yep.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about the difference between being a functionary and a fiduciary. Okay. Our industry, you folks as realtors are a fiduciary. There are very few people who hold licenses with the state who are fiduciaries. Okay. Most people in their jobs, they're functionaries. The difference between a functionary and a fiduciary is a functionary performs functions. They perform tasks in order to serve their client. Okay. So they're functionaries. They function in their job, just like the description sounds. A fiduciary is somebody who's held at a higher standard, because a fiduciary has to put the client's needs and wants above their own. Unlike some of the people that you were talking about, they did not do that. They were not fiduciaries. They were functionaries. They put the commission before the client. So I was taught by my mentor this saying: take care of the client and the commission will take care of itself. In other words, do what's right by your client and the commission will take care of itself. You will get a commission. And when you not only get one commission, you'll get several commissions. I've been in the business long enough now that I'm now working on the 4th generation with a lot of my clients. I help the parents and they're now grandparents. I help their children. I've helped their grandchildren. And now I'm helping their great-grandchildren. When they're looking for a house, they don't go anywhere else. They call Ken. Why? Because I put them first. I was a fiduciary. Okay, I put their needs above my own. I did not let the commission get in the way of them finding the house they wanted or selling a house that they had at a profit. Okay, so we're one of three fiduciaries. There's only really three that exist. You know what they are? What are the other two fiduciaries?
Lawyer.
Yep, lawyer,
Doc-
not a doctor.
Well, financial advisor
Yep.
would be another one.
Yeah, if you're a certified financial advisor, then you're a fiduciary. And why is that? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're handling other people's money. You have a trust account. Attorneys have trust accounts. They handle people's money. They handle escrows. Okay, we do the same thing. We handle people's money. And then a financial advisor has to advise their clients as to the best investment instrument for them, regardless of what kind of a commission they're going to get. Because just like in our business, some investment tools that a financial advisor will use will pay a higher commission to them than others. Okay, the same is true with mortgage lenders. Okay, mortgage lenders, the people that you are going to deal with, they make varying commission depending on what kind of a loan your buyer is going to take out. If your client's going to do a conventional loan, they make good money. That's the best money that a loan officer can make. But if your client's going to go FHA or VA, not so much. Some lenders won't even do FHA and VA loans because they don't pay well enough. Those are lenders that are in it for the money and not to serve the client. Okay. So pick a lender who will service all clients, because if you will do that, then you will have a much broader and a much more rounded and full and beautiful career, rather than just focusing on one aspect. Does that make sense? Service everybody, service buyers and sellers. Okay, there's an expression in the business too, that you need to list to last. Okay, I highly recommend that you take listings and buyers. Okay, list to last. Okay, two different concepts. One is an exclusive relationship with your client, and the other one is not as exclusive. And that's why you need both. I don't have time to go into that right now, but any questions between functionary and fiduciary? You are a fiduciary. Keep that in mind. You are trusted with other people's money. You're trusted with the largest investment they'll ever have. The average price of a house in Davis County is $540,000. Weber County, 490, 480, something like that. So we're talking $500,000. You list somebody's house, they're trusting you with $500,000. Don't screw it up. Be a fiduciary. Put their needs first. Okay. Any questions on that? Wrong way.
Yes.
So one of the questions we always get asked is, gosh, it just seems really awkward that I'm going to be door knocking, or I'm going to be calling people, or even my SOI. I'm going to call my Uncle John that I haven't talked to for a year or for years. And all of a sudden I'm calling him to say, hey, I'm involved in real estate. So that really seems awkward to me. So we have this process that we call Ford. So if you will talk to your people, whether it's your SOI, whether it's somebody that you're cold calling, if you'll use one of these elements of the Ford in order to start to develop a rapport with people, people love to talk about themselves. They love to talk about themselves. So get them to talk about themselves. They can call your Uncle John. Hey, how's the family? How's so-and-so? Talk to them about their family. Talk to them about their occupation. What is it you do for a living? That's kind of fascinating, that you do that for a living. Recreation. How do you spend your spare time? Okay. So we talk about things they like to do. And what are their dreams? what's your goal in selling your house? What is the goal here? What are we trying to accomplish? Is it to sell it quickly because you have to move to a job next week out of state? Is it to sell it for the most money? I've had people in the military that have said to me, I want my house to go to a veteran. Now, I can't manipulate that. I can't say veterans only on the listing, okay? Because I can't discriminate. But if I bring them 4 or 5 buyers, which is not unusual in this market right now, to have multiple offers, and one of those is a veteran, can they choose to go with the veteran? Absolutely. I've seen sellers leave $40,000 or $50,000 on the table because they were a veteran and they wanted the veteran to have the home. Okay. So it just depends on what is the goal, what's their dreams. Okay, so in order to do that, you have to ask questions. So we kind of have an unspoken rule that you need to ask 3 questions in sequential. Is that right? What's the word? Sequence. Three questions. Okay. And the way you do that is with bridging words. Okay. So for example, I'm going to a listing appointment. I'm sitting down with the people. I've walked through the house and I've looked at the house. I obviously had my presentation prepared. I think I have a pretty good idea what the house is worth because I've pulled comps and I've done a CMA on the house. And I say to them, what's your goal? What's your dream? In a perfect world, what would the sale of this home look like? Well, you know, we'd really like it to go to a family. Family would be good for the neighborhood. Well, tell me more about that. Well, you know, we enjoy raising our family here. We just think it's a great place for people to raise a family. And so you ask probing questions and words that connect. Tell me more about that. That's a good way to do that. Or having said that, you know, get them to open up and to talk more with you about that. Okay. So follow this, talk about these based questions: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Any questions on that? Okay. Where's the video?
We're gonna just get exit here. I'm gonna get exit on that, and then I'll go on the top, so that tab, the second one in. Learn the mindset. To the top, to the left, there you go, yep.
So now we're gonna watch a video about mindset. Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about mindset. This is a tough business. This is a business where you can get met with a lot of opposition. Okay, people tell you no. People hang up on you because you're calling them and bothering them during the dinner hour. Okay, there's a lot of opposition. So in this business, you have to come up with a way for you, at least for me, on a daily basis, to put myself in a positive mindset. Okay, to be able to withstand and to overcome the rejection or the failures that I might have in prospecting. So I'm going to play you this video, and as we go through the video, look for the answers to these 10 questions. These 10 questions are going to be answered in this video. Don't have any volume. This it?
Let me see.
That's the TV one.
Where's the other one?
No, that's the TV.
This is John Maxwell.
The largest gap between successful and unsuccessful people in life is the thinking gap. I'm not talking about being smart. I'm not talking about an IQ. I'm talking about how you think and how I think. Successful people think differently than unsuccessful people. Wise thinking leads to right living. Stupid thinking leads to wrong living. How true that is.
You're not just a product of your environment, you're a product of all that surrounds you and your environment. That includes the people, your beliefs, the TV you watch, the newspapers you read, the friends you have, the movies you watch, your hobbies, your interests, your family, everything else that you're involved with influences your environment. And to the degree that your environment is healthy or unhealthy, it's gonna have something to do with the products that you're able to get out and the quantity at which you can put those products out. Self-esteem is the bedrock of high performance. It's the bedrock of everything. And it's the least thing that is taught in schools. You are who you hang around with. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. First, self-esteem is built the first 7 or 8 years of life. Who are you around the first 7 or 8 years of life? Mom, maybe dad, older brother, uncle, a grandmother, right? What the hell do they know about building self-esteem? They don't know anything. And now, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Who do you go hang with? Who do you chill with? Bill Gates doesn't hang. Steve Jobs, who I knew, didn't chill. Warren Buffett doesn't hang. Elon Musk doesn't hang. And I go down the list of people that don't hang. So the people that you're now associating with, would you want your children to be like your two best buddies, or two best gal friends, whatever you call it? Would you? Probably not. Would you even want your children to be like you? Probably not. So why is there so little being done about it?
Hard work works. Working really hard is what successful people do. Remember, just because you're affording a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. Don't confuse movement with progress.
It's that level above where your comfort zone is. That's what I want you to shoot for. Don't go through life burning at 10 watts or 50. Be a 100-watt person and burn bright. Don't settle for average. Don't go through life just saying, you know what? I'm okay being average. Average sucks. It does. I promise you this. Sometimes it doesn't matter how much you want or how hard you want to get something. If you don't possess the actual skill set that's required to do it, it's delusion. And most people don't get that. They'll try to go into a business that's sales-based, but not master the art of sales and persuasion. They'll try to go into another type of business, not master whatever it might be. They don't master their craft. Don't settle for just being average at what you do. You gotta become amazing at it. Become a force of nature. But there's nothing you can't learn. There's nothing you can internalize through hard work and effort. But it's hard work and it takes effort. Don't miss this step. The problem with most people, they don't set their goals too high and miss them. That's not the problem. The problem with 99% of the world is they set their goals too low and they hit them. Average sucks. The enemy of great is good. Don't set your goals low. Set your goals high.
And understand that to achieve these goals, you must apply discipline and consistency.
You're gonna either go get it or somebody else is gonna go get it. This is how this thing plays out, okay? It will have nothing to do with your grades. It's gonna have something to do with whether you decide to stay focused on what you want in your life. Okay, everybody's gonna have a choice to get it. There's two types of people, folks. People that get the life they want and everybody else. Okay, what group do you want to be in? Everything you want to learn in life is in a book somewhere. You can resist it. The average American reads 1 book a year. Average is an epidemic. Average people, average athletes, 250,000 kids every year come out of high schools playing basketball. 250,000 kids every year are playing basketball, scholastic basketball, in order to try to play in the NBA. You know how many out of 250,000 play in the NBA? 5 out of 250,000. Life ain't fair. Life is bad for a bunch of people, good for a lot of people, and great for a few. You guys got to decide where it's going to be. Okay, like your potential is where you'll determine your greatness.
See, most people think success is a straight line. I'm gonna get out of high school, I'm gonna get a job, and everything's gonna be fine. That's not how it plays out, folks, okay? This is how it plays out. Guy decides he wants something, and the line gets all squiggly. Because if you don't have your own goals, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna spend your whole life making somebody else's dreams come true. Question is, will you take enough action? If you don't take enough action, if you don't take enough focused action that is positive to your potential, consistent with who you are and where you want to go, if you don't do that, you're gonna end up being everybody else. It says, I am obsessed, I am not like others, I do what others refuse to do, I must control my destiny. I am never satisfied, I cannot settle, I rise while others sleep, I refuse to quit, I am driven to succeed, and I'm a role model for others, okay?
I want you to go into an idea and don't give yourself a way out. Make success a must. Make the consequences of failure in your life so dire and unthinkable, it won't allow it to happen. What stops most people from achieving success is the bullshit story they tell themselves why they can't achieve it. And never give up. Ever. Most people give up too soon. Good things take time. You're gonna have failures before you success. That's why failure evidently is so important. Don't give up, stick to your dream, don't settle for any less than excellence in your life. Extraordinary standards, guys. Extraordinary. You're here. So just imagine if you have this champagne vision. I want to have yachts, movie side, and dear standards. That's not congruent. That leads to unhappiness.
If you ask me, what does it take to be happy, give you one word: progress. Progress equals happiness. When you're making progress in your body, even if you're not there yet, you feel good. You achieve your goal and you just sit around, you're not happy. We gotta grow, we gotta make progress. It's easy to make progress in the beginning of something. In the beginning of a relationship, who doesn't have a good time? Right? In the beginning of starting a business, if you love what you're doing, of course you're gonna have a great time. In the beginning and ending, it's easy. A job, it's fun in the beginning, it's novelty, it's new. And most people hit that plateau, they go, wrong job, wrong relationship, wrong business, because it's not instantly fulfilling them. But the people that go, I'm gonna fight through and go deep, I'm gonna find a way to break through, I'm gonna find a way to learn and know more about this even life so that I can help as many people as possible. It won't be bullshit, it's because there is a power in mastery. And how many people do you know are really committed to mastery today? Most people got one of billion things they master nothing. They wonder why they're unfulfilled. Because they're running for the sugar, the next thing that feels good, instead of getting past what doesn't feel good and getting to where you own something. There's only maybe a half dozen, 7, 8 categories that really matter. Most people, you know, they major in minor things.
The most important real estate in life is 6 inches between the ears. How we think. And anything you want good, you can have. So claim it. Work hard to get it. Don't just aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference.
Here's my best advice. Welcome all experiences. You never know which one is gonna turn everything on. Don't put up the walls. The same wall that keeps out disappointment keeps out happiness. Take down the walls. Go for the experience. Let it teach you. And here's the last. Resolve. Resolve says I will. 2 of the most powerful words in the language. Benjamin Disraeli said, nothing can resist a human will that will stake its existence on a purpose. Shortly put, I'll do it or die. The kids, how long should a baby try to learn how to walk? How long would you give your average baby? Before you say, hey, enough, enough. No. Any mother in the world would say, you're crazy. My baby is going to keep trying what? Until, what a magic word. I want you to write it down. Until, accomplish yourself, you'll read the books until your skills change. You'll go to seminars until you get a handle on it. You'll listen to it until it makes sense. You'll go for it until you understand it. You'll practice it until you develop a skill. Never give up until, however long that is, step by step, piece by piece, book by book, word by word, apple by apple, walk around the block, Go for it. Don't miss the chance to grow and resolve that you'll pay the price until you learn, change, grow, become. Then you'll discover some of life's best treasures when you pay that price.
What do you think? That video told you everything you need from a mindset perspective to be successful in this business.
It was called the outcome. I could see that up in the corner.
We'll send this out in our recap.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll send it. Link.
The biggest gap between successful people and unsuccessful people is the thinking gap. Okay, it's the mindset. Oh, I can't do that. Yeah, I can. I can do that. I believe in each one of you. I believe you're here for a purpose. I believe that you've been inspired by God or the universe or whoever you want to call it in order to help people. This is your new mission, to help people in real estate. So you're qualified just by that. You've been called, you've been chosen. You've chosen to do this to help other people. Self-esteem is the bedrock of success. You can't have poor self-esteem and woe is me and be successful and withstand the tyranny that we're going to be facing on a daily basis in doing this business. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Okay, who are you hanging out with? Are those people being positive and being an asset in your life? And as you work on yourself, and as you become the person that you need to become in order to make that $500,000 a year in real estate, you're going to have people that are going to become jealous. They're going to be envious because they see the success that you've had. Some of those might even be your spouses, because there's going to be a gap that's going to happen, because you're going to understand that you need to become a different person in all different ways in order to achieve that kind of success. Successful people work hard. Don't confuse movement with progress. Okay, just because we're going to a training every day this week doesn't necessarily mean that we're progressing in the field of real estate. We have to do the 6 competencies in order to have progression. We need to lead generate. We need to capture leads. We need to convert leads. We need to negotiate. We need to write contracts, and we need to close. That's progression. That's a natural progression in this business. Going to trainings like this is great. Reading the books is great. That's all valuable stuff. I'm not discounting that at all. But you need to have your activities be within the 6 competencies in order to have progress. The problem with 99% of people is they set their goals too low. Okay. I would hope that your goal for this coming year would be at least $100,000 worth of real estate. At least. Some of you will do 2 or 3 times that. I know you will. Okay, because you're going to do what it takes in order to become the person you need to become in order to do that. And we're going to help you along the way. You're so lucky to be here where we have all of the tools and the knowledge and the staff necessary to do that. This brokerage spends a lot of money on staff. They have some of the best staff in the industry here. And that doesn't come cheap. There's other brokerages, the brokerage that I left, you couldn't get a person to help you live with their software. True or false? You could watch a video, you could maybe go to a group training, but you couldn't ask a question. There are too many people for that. Here, you can come here and any of 4 or 5 people will sit down with you one-on-one and show you how to put your contacts in, show you how to do your campaigns and your advertising and your drip campaigns. That is huge. That is huge in itself right there. Okay. And we own the software. It's not going to change. It's been Command for I don't know how many years, and it's going to be Command for the future. That was one of the other frustrations I had with the company I left. In the 8 years I was there, we had 3 different softwares. So I would just start learning a software and they would change it. And I'd learn that software and they change it. Why did they change it? Because they didn't own it. They were leasing it. It's too expensive to own the software. Gary Keller has put $500 million into Command. Yeah, I didn't say that wrong. $500 million into Command, and he's still continuing to do it today. Because he realizes that that makes the difference between professionals and those that are not as successful in the business. That's why he's making that investment. Because he's smart enough to know that if he does everything humanly possible to make you successful and you successful, then I'm going to be successful and so is he. Okay. Life is bad for a bunch of people. Life is good for a lot of people. And life is great for a few. So what life are you going to have? Are you going to have a bad life, a good life, or a great life? I don't know about you, but I want a great life. And this industry has helped me have a great life. I am so thankful for this industry because I'm my own boss. I can choose what I do on a daily basis. I can choose the amount of money that I'm going to make every year. I can choose who I do it with, both as a brokerage and as clients. And so that's the best of all worlds, to be able to choose all of those things and put those together so that I can have the most success that I can have. So let's commit together here tonight that we're going to have a great life through real estate. Progress equals happiness. You're going to have tough days. You're going to have tough weeks. Chris?
You and I've had that.
Yeah. Chris has called me. He's a great agent. He's new in the business, but he's figured it out. He understands it. He's had great success. But were there hard days, hard weeks? Were there times that he called me and I talked him off the cliff? Yeah. But why? Why did I talk him off the cliff? Because I saw the value. I saw that he was on his way. I saw that success was just around the corner, and it happened. So, you're going to have those tough times, but as long as you continue to progress, you continue to learn the contracts, you continue to learn what you need to do on a daily basis, then you're going to do just fine. Power in mastery. There is power in mastery. There are a lot of agents in this business. There's a lot of realtors in this business. And so the thing that's going to set you apart from everyone else is your mastery. How well do you communicate with people? How well do you connect with people? How well do you know the contracts? How well do you know the market? Okay, they're going to ask you. They're going to ask you about the market. You need to be a student of the market so that you understand the market so you can communicate that to people. You want to be their expert. You want to be their real estate expert, just not a real estate agent. You want to be a real estate expert. So it's going to take study. You're going to be reading books. You're going to be reading articles. You're going to be coming to classes. We're going to teach you about the market. We're going to show you where to find statistics on the market. And then the three most important words in life: do it until. There's going to be days when you're going to want to quit. You're going to want to throw in the towel. What did he say? The problem with most people is they quit too early. They quit too early. Don't quit too early. Okay. We all have rough patches. We all have bad days. We all have bad weeks. We all have bad months. But as long as you continue to plug through and you continue to work on your mastery of the industry, you're going to have success. I guarantee you that. And I know you guys are skilled enough, and you have the right desire. That's why you're here. And half of it is desire. You have the desire to do this. You have the desire to help people. You have the desire to be a fiduciary to people, to guard their money, to care for them in a loving way, and to become their best friend. Most of my friends are my clients. You treat your client right, they're gonna be your friend for life. I get invited to weddings and baptisms and barbecues and all that stuff, and I consider myself to be very blessed that they consider me to be family, that they're inviting me to those things, and they'll do the same thing for you if you treat them like family and put their best interests first. Okay, God bless you. Thanks for being here tonight. You guys are awesome. And we're here to support you. Yeah.
Ooh, so I'm gonna over.
You want to stop recording? So stop share. Stop share, the red one?
Oh, right.
There, yeah, stop, and then. Stop recording, the one on the right. Bye. Bye.